Initial start, you can start now.
Good afternoon to one and all attending the session. I am G. Denishapriya, member of IEEE Photonic Society from the Department of Electronic and Communication Engineering, St. Joseph Institute of Technology. I am here to volunteer for today's session. On behalf of ECE Department, St. Joseph Institute of Technology, St. Joseph Group of Institution, I extend my hearty welcome to Mr. N. Narendra Santosh, full stack developer, tech enthusiast, International Development Connection. I would like to mention our beloved chairman, Dr. B. Babu Manoharan sir, and our managing director, Mrs. B. Jessipriya ma'am, and director, Mr. B. Sashishekhar sir, and our principal, Dr. P. Ravichandran sir, for giving this wonderful opportunity to conduct this webinar. And special mention to our department head, Dr. C. Jnana Kaushalya ma'am, Professor and Head Staff and Students Affairs, and Dr. G. Rohini ma'am, Professor and Head Lab Affairs, for their guidance and constant support. Before we start this session, I would like to tell a few instructions to be followed by the participants. Kindly post your queries and questions in the chat box, and they will be discussed with the speaker at the end of the session. The attendance link will be posted at the end of today's webinar. Now, I invite our speaker of the day to kindly start the session. You can start now, sir.
Hi, very good afternoon to everyone. This is Narendra here. Much excited and happy to see a lot of people who have volunteered to be part of this wonderful session. So promise me that you're gonna definitely learn something new and also gonna take something from this session. So being a student like you, I have always thought of how a product has been made and how a product has is brought into life, is brought into day-to-day markets. And when I was suggested I have to talk about IoT, the only thing that got in my mind is was not to say something that students may all know or something that students will learn themselves. So I will not be teaching you something that is related to embedded systems or related to what the whole concept is. I just gonna say you what are the better hopes that is available for IoT and in what way you could shape it further. So being the future, I would few of these slides will definitely inspire and also will make you to encourage to do well. So with that note, my topic of today is rise of smart device. Definitely, it could sound like rise of robot, but literally in whatever tool that we are using right now, let it be Zoom, Windows or Mac, whatever system you're operating, everything has been transformed by human mankind, and technology is dominating us in all the means. It was not that much in in education sector, but thanks to COVID-19, now it is totally taking the role here, and you can definitely see the influences accordingly. So with that aspect, I would like to just start with what was the IoT era before 2015. Before 2015, I still remember it was my initial college days, and the internet awareness was not that much big enough. Like nowadays, we are talking about internet speed MB per second, and those days it was hardly MB, and before 2010, 2012, it was KB per second, really. So in that way, our technology awareness was there among the people, and only few of us would be having a better access to the internet, and most of okay, something has changed. Can you hear me, people, and can you see my screen?
Sir,
Can you see my screen?
We can hear you, but your screen. What about others, ma'am?
Suddenly it got cancelled, sir. I'm very sorry.
Okay.
Screen is not visible, sir, but it's audible, sir.
Yeah. Do let me know once screen is visible.
Yeah.
Yeah, now the screen is visible,
Yeah.
sir. Thank you.
Okay, so it was those days, and those days the IoT was totally immature baby. Like it was coming into our hands in India, but whereas in USA they were already invented a model called Nest, Google Nest. I hope people know, and another Amazon product called Echo Dash, and other things were also in big research. But whereas considered in India, and whatever I'm speaking in this particular session is only related to Indian market. So in India, it was totally in papers. In papers, I mean, it was in college, universities, research institutions, organizations, conducting experiments and conducting how to get out idea or concept like that. And the biggest challenge was internet. If we get a product out, the people who have access to internet are few, and also the awareness is also very less. And connectivity issues may result in a bad product outrage. For example, like earlier days, there was a company called uh, Amazon Fresh, which was which was as developed as an idea by Amazon, which actually means that it will deliver vegetables and dairy products to each and every household. But the idea came in and it was implemented much earlier. It was implemented in 2007, 2008 in USA. But at that time, it was not badly accepted, and people thought buying vegetables by themselves, going to the shop would be much more handy. And down the line in 10 years, now you can see wherever we go, let it be any country, including India, we are having a food delivered by delivery partners. We have our food big basket. We have our groceries delivered by delivery partners like Big Basket, and also each and every goods for Diwali is being delivered. So that's the range. And the reason I'm pointing that out here is, if you have a wonderful product, it doesn't mean that you will definitely get into market, or you will definitely develop a good business, or you develop a good resource of people experiencing it, unless and until the market is ready for your product. So if in 2015 IoT was only made into a product and it was implemented and was forced by the consumers, it wouldn't have reached this much. But now with almost 70% of people in India have access to network, and the data shows 40% to 50% have internet access in urban areas mainly. Sorry, that was the data is across the India, but in urban areas the internet access are above 55%. And in some or some other reasons, the impact of Reliance Geo company's growth has made a big impact, which gave a good awareness to the people. And also coming with Google, coming with smartphone devices, each and every household now has a smartphone, and by this chance, it's a greater opportunity for those people who are working on IoT, mainly to start working on this particular sector, because now you get a endless opportunity to design a prototype, to get into the hands of the people, because now the people will also understand what you are doing, what you are trying to do. For me, one best thing is that if you want to create a good product out of IoT, or if you want to create a product, let it be anything, your first consumer should be your parents, because they are from the past generations. And if you succeed in convincing them in your usage of the product, making them to experience and identifying the flaws and rectifying it, then I'm 100% sure that your product will win. Because if you can satisfy their needs, then you can definitely satisfy your community needs, your people needs, and also others. So that's my take. And that's what actually happened. Now you could see each and every household of us will have a mobile WhatsApp family group, which will send lots and lots of forwarders. But now our parents, everyone, like most of the cases, they know basic understanding of how mobile phone and how internet plays an important role. So before, which directly helped us with making the product available to the market. So before, it was just a circuit emulation, like simulation, wherein we just have circuits prototype made in, and we just try to plug in and plug out, and the time taken to make that into a product was much more time consuming. But now it has made easy, and now we are able to buy IoT products online. The biggest impact out of this is the biggest out of impact is here. The smart devices have mainly played an important role, and it will certainly play an important role in coming days, because now every home needs a smart automation kind of devices, which enables them to operate their appliances, their entities from remote perspective, and it definitely gives the owner, the consumer, a feel of controlling, having a control over the things, not necessarily to be within them or inside, or to be closer to them, but even when they are away, they can also operate it. Similar to that, this is smart jar, which was earlier an experiment. Now it got converted into a product, which is quite a good gesture. And now I would like to propose that this is an opportunity that is available for you people. There are a lot of prototypes which have turned into a good product, and now if you jump into this sector, it will definitely create a good awareness of these things. And now, as I said, the outcome, as I said, the new devices, the awareness among the devices like this among the people have increased a lot. And in coming years, there are a lot of smart devices that is coming. Mainly, if you concentrate in home, literally all of the devices are being converted. Smart plug, each and every devices is playing an important role in this sector. But what you have to do, what I should have to do, if you have that question in your mind, then what I would suggest is that it's better uh, you try out it and get into a product mode instead of just thinking over the idea is there or not. Mainly in the, mainly in smart devices sector, each and every devices. Hello, am I? There's some disturbance here. Am I audible, students?
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir. No problem. You can continue. If there is anything, we will inform you.
Sure, sir. Thank you. Thank you. There was some kind of disturbance, so just stopped. Okay, fine then. So the opportunities here, if you focus that in home alone, providing to domestic purposes a smart device, I suggest you not to, because already many companies are working on it, and you getting your product out and competing with them won't be a better choice. But instead, you can try on other sectors like, let it be logistic, retail, manufacturing, for food processing,
ஓ
education,
ஏ
healthcare, travel,
எரும
mobility.
மாடு போயிருவாங்க
எப்படி போயிரு
ஏ
Healthcare, travel, and mobility, home, domestic farming. So when you have a great idea, or when you have a great accept of idea in providing a solution, you could definitely jump into these kind of sectors. Mainly if you take education, imagine if this situation won't be prolonging once we have vaccine. So one day or the other day you're gonna hit the classroom, and imagine what kind of automation you could bring in classroom, because now the technology is already included inside our education system. Here I mean only Indian education system, and mainly Tamil Nadu education system. Now we people are using Zoom for our daily classes. Imagine once you go back to normal stages, and once you have an opportunity to take the help of technology in making your assignments as a to do, in making your each and every project assignments, or some kind of important notices as a to do, or where you are being informed from a device, or you are being informed through a mobile app. That is what actually I'm talking about here. The power of IoT is not alone with the connecting things. It plays an important role apart from that. So I will be discussing few of those things in coming slides, but I'm just taking a time over here to make sure that if you are the right persons, you could definitely get into a good project in IoT space. And if you are focusing on which sector I have to concentrate, I would recommend you, apart from the home sector, that is the domestic, saying that I will turn on the light, I will do this, I will control these things. I have a project that solves a purpose. It should not be a project just on a paper, or it should not be a project just to showcase for some marks. It should be a project which will definitely impact few of your people. Yes, few of your people means definitely you have parents, or you will be having some friends in your surroundings, or community people, let us say. Definitely they will be facing some problems. You have to identify, and you have to think in such a way whether how could I propose a solution and come out with a perfect solution for the problem that they are facing. And you have to utilize your skills in implementing or integrating IoT or whatever skills that you have learned in your past few years of college, and making that into a product is actually what engineer does. And that's what is important, and that's what your staff, your management is trying to pursue. And if that's the case, what we have to do, how we have to look forward to it, all these things I will be covering. So as I said, these are the opportunities that's available where the smart devices are not yet ruling the space. But in home, there are many people who are ruling it. But whereas in other sectors, it's the penetration is very less. So you could just try out a solutions and come up with a wonderful product. So how you have to approach? So I can understand. And one more thing, guys, if you want me to continue in Tamil, I will be more than happy to continue in Tamil, because I want my 1 hour to be utilized well. So if you feel that English is kind of tough a bit to understand or can't grasp more, just be frank with me. Okay, so the main steps of prototyping is you have to have a hardware, software, cloud connectivity. This is for IoT mainly. So hardware in the sense, what is hardware? These things you could have learned in embedded systems, but I would suggest you to go with Raspberry Pi if you have a project that is that uses that needs functionality literally of a computer, or else you could go for Adafruit module. This is something similar to Nano, Arduino Nano, or you could also go to something like embedded Pi, or else Arduino as well. So you need an hardware in order to make sure that whatever solution you wanted to provide, if it needs a device kind of prospect, you need a hardware. And then for software, it's definitely important. You people have to learn MIT App Inventor. If you are a electronics students, if you are a computer science students, no need, you can directly learn Java and develop apps. But for all of them, I would request you to learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript. This is very, very simple. This is just because you need to provide a front end. A front end is something like this. You need to provide something like a UI, user interface, to the consumer, so they can interact on the screen and they can see the changes. That is the ultimate impact. You should not proceed, you should not show your output using Arduino software or something that is very, very developer focused. It should be consumer focused. And then moving on to next with Android or iOS app or React Native or Flutter. These are hybrid development. The next one is cloud. If you look on cloud, you definitely need a database to store your values. When it comes to IoT, when it comes to IoT, you definitely have to integrate a physical device with the cloud, so through internet or Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. In that case, for databases, you can go to IoT Azure Cloud, which is from Microsoft. They provide a good infrastructure, especially for Internet of Things. Or else there are many other options, but I would suggest you to start with this ThinkSpeak. Wonderful website to get started with. It will store all of your data. It will give an API, and from there you can you can get the data, store the data. And next is important is that you have your hardware done, you have your software done, you have your cloud done, but you need an internet module which utilizes the internet in the local space wherever it is being placed or injected. And with that internet power, this will energize and send or get data is what IoT is all about in simple man terms. So the connectivity plays an important role where we have Ethernet module, we have ESP2, this is a Wi-Fi module, which could be utilized and to do your prototyping. Apart from this, there are many other components that you could utilize, a joystick kind of thing for controlling, flame sensor, RGB lights, heartbeat sensor, light curve sensor, all magnetic sensor, temperature sensor, tilt switch, which identifies any tilt modifications that happens, different types of color switches, user input button, shock sensors, rotating encoders, tracking with IR, buzzer sensor, passive buzzer, and there are also many other sensors like infrared receiver, gas sensor, relay module. In this, relay module plays an important role, especially when you want to integrate that with a when you want to integrate a physical device which is of which is operating at 220 voltage. You cannot power that with a 5 voltage Arduino or 12 voltage modules. So at that case, you need a relay module which fluctuates between the high voltage and low voltage and produces you a phenomenal nominal voltage that the device needs. And these are the important components that you may need. And yeah, now I'll be showing you few, not hands-on, but I'll be showing on few of the important sites. So start with instructables. So instructables is a wonderful website. Go create a login and just type IoT projects. You could clearly see many projects will be displaying. Inside every project there will be a, it's not necessary there will be a video, but you could see how they have done that whole experiment. They have screenshots, they have code. Don't feel like you're copy pasting, but it's more like a book, open book that is available on web. You can utilize and learn. There are many other projects which you could read their abstract, understand. This is RFID based, which works. They have a Raspberry Pi and also Mega Arduino with a sensor, RFID sensor, and the RFID key and card. So you could, they would be teaching you while doing this kind of experiment. You would also be understanding what are the pins available and how you have to integrate them, which is quite important. And they have a schema diagram here. They have the pin configuration. So my first choice would be instructables, and next would be Exter. So now you could see like IoT pet feeder. You could see a working video. You could see how they have made it, and also you could buy what are the products they have used. but this would be very, very, what to say, costly. And they have also given a circuito.io link, which I was about to cover you. Circuito.io link is like their schema diagram, which they will be providing you. So this is the exact schema diagram for that particular project, and you could identify all the products that they have used, and they are listed there here, and they have made a connection in order to check. And we'll talk about circuit.io later, but this is IoT feeder project. So Axstar is one such project. Then you can look on for Tinkercad, which is something similar to circuit.io, wherein you could develop uh, schemas. At the time, I would suggest instead of Tinkercad, you could go for circuit.io because there is no need of login. You can directly hit on go to app. And now you could see they have given us a basic. They have given us a basic Arduino Uno. Now here inside here you could see the controllers they have, and in which we have used Arduino Uno. Now you could see the inputs that they have. They have few inputs. They also have some outputs. They have connectivity IoT, which is now we have a ESP806. You have to just drag and drop here, and it will give you a basic connection. You can change them if you want to. This is a logic level converter, bidirectional one, and you could see the connections of each and every pin over here, and you could also verify what that particular pin stands for. Ground to bus ground, all these things will be pretty much self-explanatory for you. And later, if you could also give them any inputs. Already I've given ESP 8266 Wi-Fi module. Now I'm gonna give temperature sensor. I have to just drag it, drag and drop, and now the magic happens. It itself will integrate, so no need to worry. It will do the most of your hardships. You can directly go in code. So they have a coding file also, and they have a project guide which actually gets you to do what are the components used. It will give a good description of how the things work. And the most important reason why I suggest you this is that if you feel that you want to have an hands-on but you don't have any products or such, you have to buy it. You can go for Amazon, but before going to Amazon, and if you are in Chennai, I'd recommend you to go to Ritchie Street one day at least, once at least. You would understand the products, you would understand what are things available and how this market is, and not the Ritchie market, but how this particular embedded system market is all about. You'll be getting a great learning from that, and then you can try out some simulations. Then you could go and buy Amazon, because now everything is available online. You can directly try these things before investing. You can execute inside circuit.io, and which provides you good amount of exposure in understanding these kind of concepts. And finally, if you are done with your prototype, like once this is working, you should buy it and try it out with real devices and make a good working video. Then go to Seed Studio. Here, if you create an account and have a call with the Seed Studio providers, you have to just send the link of the circuito.io, and they will convert that into a PCB. So that is the magic of C Studio, and they will have some charges. This will go to China and come back to you, and but your PCB would be printed, and you could start directly using that. So that is one wonderful thing that I will suggest you, and have it as the last step. Before these steps, you have to identify and do all the things. And you could also learn about Azure IoT Cloud, which is a wonderful tool for IoT. And about, as I said, thingspeak.com is also a wonderful website for backend cloud storage, which you could start using, and if you're also you can also get the data like this. So that's it. I have to share. So start learning, start exploring, and start creating wonderful products. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity. I'm open for the questions. Sir, I'm open for the questions. So I feel there are a few questions over here.
Yeah, it's up 2 minutes. They are consolidating the questions. Yeah.
Okay, okay, sir. I just had 10 minutes of window for questions because in questions I can discuss more. So that's why.
Sir,
Yes.
thank you, sir, for your stimulating and fruitful webinar section. Now let's move on to question and answer sessions.
Sure, sure. Thanks.
Um, Sir, what is embedded system in future enhancement, sir?
What is embedded system in future enhancement? Am I right? The question.
Embedded system in future enhancement.
Okay, so embedded systems is actually what is powering our devices. If you take the cloud and internet connectivity out of it, that is what embedded system. If you to answer your question, embedded system will definitely have a good future in coming days, almost for almost all the years, because that powers the devices. But out of which it comes out is the question, like embedded systems are totally what to say saturated, and now there are no other new devices or new kind of devices which is used as integration to make it much more better. Each and every day they are working more on the processor and performance, and we can see the developments on that stage. But from a product side end, embedded devices are improving a lot. But as a scope or as a career, I would suggest you to take up embedded systems as a base, but not as a whole. So embedded systems with connectivity and internet is what is all about IoT. So the scope in IoT is what I would suggest as the future enhancement of embedded systems. I hope I
Okay,
have
sir.
answered your question.
The next question, what are the security concerns related to IoT?
Yeah, that's a good question. Security concerns plays a very, very, very important role, and that's why each and every product that comes out are being tested enormously, but it depends on the service provider that you use, which by default gives you a good authentication. I would suggest you to use IoT Azure Cloud when you're moving to production. Like there are two stages in a product life cycle. One is development and another is production. Whereas development involves when when the consumer cannot see the product. Production is somewhere where the product is handed over to the hands of the consumer. In that case, I would suggest you to use something better than ThinkSpeak because ThinkSpeak is only for development specific. That's why I suggested you other things like IoT as Cloud. But from our product perspective, you should also provide some authentication. The data sensor that collects should not come enormously every second. You should validate it only once the user asks, then only you have to give the data. It should not be something that is stored for enormous amount of time. It wastes the storage and also it is not a big it is totally a big security hole. So many people can hack it through. Another reason is that whatever front-end application you make, the APIs that are being transferred to and fro should be validated and authenticated. So that's a good question. And in short, you should use IoT Azure Cloud for protection once if you are concerned about security. Another thing is that in your product, let it be in any connection with the cloud. You should make sure that this authenticated and also you should not communicate with the sensor every time unless and until there is a need.
Thank you, sir. The next question: how do you analyze data in IoT?
Yeah, as I said, the data in IoT would be like something like this. It will be coming in a data value, but uh, you could definitely make a graph out of it. So once you get a large amount of data, you could run on Python models, both machine learning and both data models and data science algorithms, wherein you can find a patterns among the data. But there are a lot of tools available. For example, Google Tables are available. If you just push your data on it, there are a number of tools to analyze the data. To answer your question, that is the thing. And how feasible it is, very, very feasible to analyze the data. Once you have the data, you could push that into Google Tables and it will take care of everything. Google Data Tables.
Sir, impact of IoT in future in web development and app developments.
That seems to be very, what is it? The IoT development as a whole is a different sector. You cannot plug that into web development and app development. As I said in the slides, the future of IoT is very, very shine and bright. As you know, there is something called bell curve. So right now, IoT is at this stage. Is at this stage. So until IoT reaches this stage, the field is very, very promising and definitely it will have its own downfall. So the future is very, very promising is what I could say as of now, especially in India.
And the final question, sir: do we need any arbitration logic for device selection to communication?
That's a good question. Actually, you don't need any logic or some kind of constraints. Initially, it depends on two of these things. One is budget, another is performance. If you have a good budget, you could go for performance, and I won't suggest you ESP8266 in that case. You could go for some Adafruit modules. But if you're concerned about budget and not about performance, I would recommend you to go with ESP8266. So it hardly depends on these two things. One is budget and performance. One of the best tools for protection is Adafruit modules. They have good amount of sensors and also connectivity devices available, and their performance is very appreciated. Whereas in ESP8266, it provides you a good prototype level performance, but not at the consumer level.
Thank you, sir. Now it's time to express our gratitude. On behalf of the Department of Electronic and Communication Engineering, St. Joseph Institute of Technology, St. Joseph Group of Institution, I thank our guest lecturer, Mr. N. Narendra Santosh sir, for his enthralling speech on IoT and its application. Thank you, sir, for taking out time from your busy schedule and joining us to share your knowledge. I would like to extend my gratitude to our chairman, Dr. B. Babu Manoharan sir, and our managing director, Mrs. B. Jessipriya ma'am, and director, Mr. B. Sasisegar sir, and our principal, Dr. P. Ravichandran sir, for giving this great opportunity to conduct this webinar. And special thanks to our department head, Dr. C. Nyana Kausalya ma'am, Professor and Head Staff and Students Affairs, and Dr. G. Rohini ma'am, Professor and Head Lab Affairs for their support. I thank each one of our staff coordinators and the organizing team for organizing this webinar successfully. And finally, my sincere thanks to all the participants for your active participation and support. Once again, a big thanks to Mr. N. Narendra Santosh sir for your presence. Thank you all.
Thank you.